Hey everybody, I'm Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about something that I noticed recently. I was moving all my books from the room that they previously lived in to this room and reorganizing them, and it made me feel like I need to acknowledge the fact that I have a little bit, just like a little fucking bit of a problem, and that problem is purchasing and holding on to multiple copies of certain books. I have like a pretty big stack of them, and I want to like talk to you guys about it, mostly because I want to have somebody tell me that I'm not the only one who does this and make me feel better. But so I'm just gonna go through, kind of show you guys which books I have multiple copies of. If there's any like particular reason that I do own multiple copies, like if I did it on purpose, I will let you know what that reason is. And then maybe we'll come up with a course of action at the end, like somebody can convince me to unhaul some things. But yeah, let's just get right the fuck into it. So I guess I'm gonna start with my, like, we'll call them honorable mentions, because they're sort of books that I have multiple copies of, but really it's like they're slightly different. So that one I have a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's in a bind up with, like, you know, a couple other books, but it's a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then I've also got a copy of this graphic novel adaptation of it, which I actually plan on reading very, very soon, but I will talk about that in a video on Friday, I think. But yeah, so that's, I don't know. I own multiple copies of that. Like I said, they're not exactly the same because one's an adaptation, but you get the idea. And then the other one that we're going to call an honorable mention is this copy of The Divine Comedy by Dante. This is actually, I think, my husband's book, but it's kind of moved in with my books, so I think I may have inherited it. And then the other copy is just a copy of The Inferno, which is 1/3 of The Divine Comedy. So it's like part of the same book. So that's those. So now we can just get into the ones that I legitimately just own multiple copies of. And whether I have a reason for that or not is, you know, honestly not important. Like, nobody needs to own multiple copies of these books. It's a little silly. But we're going to talk about this one first, and this is actually technically two. So this is a bind up of Neil Gaiman's American Gods and Anansi Boys. This is another one that I think at one point was my husband's, but again, I kind of inherited it. But it's one of those like Barnes and Noble classics that's like, you know, 20 fucking pounds, that like is really, really ridiculous for trying to like carry around and read, which is what I do, which is actually why there's an extra copy of these. So I have the paperback versions of each of those books because they're the ones that I'm going to carry around and read and actually, like, you know, utilize in my life, I guess. Utilize. Just want to utilize a book. Like, it's just, they're the ones I'm going to read. Like, you know what I mean? So that's like that. The next one I have, this is a book that I love dearly. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's definitely in my top 3, and up until like maybe 2 years ago, if you asked me what my favorite book is, this is the one I would have defaulted to, because I've loved it since I was a little kid, and that is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I have 2 copies. I have this one, which is a really early edition paperback that I found, well, actually that, I mean, I did find it, but like my husband pointed it out to me at Half Price Books when we were there one day, and he was like, Sam, you should get it. And I was like, I don't really need a second copy. And he was like, you're gonna buy it. Like, he actually talked me into that's fucking his fault. It's not my fault. So, you know, let it be known. And then the other copy I have is a hardcover, and it's the 40th anniversary edition. And honestly, I almost bought myself a 3rd copy of this very recently, because just in December, I think it was, they released the 50th anniversary edition, and it's really pretty, and it has bonus content, and I might still buy it. We bought it for my mother-in-law for Christmas, and I was really jealous, and I like wanted to keep it, and I didn't, but so I may end up with a 3rd copy of that one, which is silly. Like, this isn't the whole point of this video, that I'm trying to convince myself to get rid of some of these, but it's really pretty, and I love that book. I've loved that book since like the 5th grade. Anyway, the next one I have is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I have 2 copies of this. This one I bought, and I hate it because it's like all scribbled on, just like right on the front cover. If it were on the inside cover, I wouldn't care as much, but it's like right on the front cover. So then, because she knew about it, a friend of mine actually bought me as a birthday gift, bought me a brand new hardcover signed copy a couple years ago. So that's, now I have 2 of it, but honestly, if I'm gonna read one, I'm just gonna read like the nice one. I'm probably not gonna read the paperback that makes me angry every time I look at it. So like, I don't know why I keep it. Maybe I'll unhaul it. Let me know, by the way, if you guys want to see like an unhaul video, because I have a bunch of books that I think I might be donating or selling or something. So I could like, you know, show them to you as you do in an unhaul video. I don't know, I've never made an unhaul before. Anyway, the next one I've got is a poetry collection, and it's Ariel by Sylvia Plath. I have the original published edition, which is the first one I ever read, and it's got like a bunch of little tabbies in it still from when I read it. And then I've got the restored edition, which is basically a recreation of the original manuscript, because when they published these poems, her ex-husband was the one who kind of put it together, and he replaced some of the poems and changed the order. And I wanted, because I loved this so much, I really wanted to get a better idea for how like she had intended it to be read, especially because this is her last poetry collection. She wrote these poems all in like the last month and a half before she died, and so you can kind of really see what her emotional state was like this time. And if you guys don't know, Sylvia Plath died by suicide. She had struggled with depression for a long time, and so you can kind of just see like what her emotional state is, and it's honestly like just really relatable, because there's like all different sort, like there's the sadness, despair, depression type stuff, and then she's also got some more like, I don't know, I love them. They get me all up in my feels, and so I bought 2 copies because I wanted to read them the way she intended. I feel like I didn't explain why I love it so much very well. Like, I swear it's not because I'm like, oh, depressing stuff is so relatable. Like, it's just that anything really, really emotional gets me, especially in poetry. Like, if poetry can make me feel something, it's good poetry in my mind. There, that sums up what I was trying to say. Nailed it. Okay. So next I have The Neverending Story by Michael Ende. This is the first copy I ever got. I bought this on Amazon. It's an old library edition. The spine is cracked. It's like taped together in spots. It's got like weird stains on the pages. You guys know how old library books can be. But I bought it just because I wanted to make sure that I could get this book in hardcover when I was looking to buy it, because it's printed in 2 different colors and the paperback doesn't do that. And this book is not actually that easy to find because it wasn't very popular when it was released in the US. So I just like bought it when I could, but I was never like really super happy with the fact that it was so like kind of beat up before I even had a chance to beat it up. So this was also given to me as a gift about a year later. Somebody was at Half Price Books and found this nice, pretty, beautiful copy that's like untarnished by anything. And so I have 2. I actually kept both of these for like a situation where if I need to like, or if somebody wants to borrow it, I can loan them the copy that's like not the nice, beautiful copy that was given to me. I can give them the one that like I'm less worried about, just because it is a really not super easy book to find and replace. At least in my experience, I like never see it at like used bookstores. So that I'll defend my decision to keep that one. All right, next I have Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Suzanne. This is my paperback copy I've had since like high school. I love this book. I love Jacqueline Suzanne's books in general. I have all of them except for one, because that one weirds me out. It's like about her dog, or it's like written to her dog or something. I don't know. But the rest of them I have and I love. So naturally, when I was out at this fancy, nice used bookstore that my brother bought me a gift certificate to for Christmas, and they have a bunch of rare books and stuff. Naturally, I had to purchase this first edition copy of Valley of the Dolls. That is it's the first edition, but it's like a 12th printing. It's an 11th or 12th printing. I don't actually have this one to read it. I have it so that I can have it up on display in my room with all my books because it's pretty and I like it. It's objectively not that pretty. It's like kind of beat up, but it's a book that's really important to me, and it's a first edition, so I really don't care what anybody else says about the fact that like the dust jacket's ripped and it's like, you know, a little janky. But incidentally, I recommend that book to anybody who really likes like gossipy, trashy fiction and is interested in anything that took place in the 60s. Like, it's so good. It's such a good book. And then the last one I have to show you guys is I have 2 copies. I'm actually down to 2 copies. I used to have like 3 or 4 at once of Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is my favorite classic. It's like dark and creepy, and it's like a romance, but it's not really a romance because like all the characters kind of suck, but I love it. I like to read it when I'm sad because it's like a comfort thing for me. But this is a copy that I got. This is like a Barnes & Noble classic, but it's one of the newer ones that's like not as heavy, but it's like made of this weird like foam material, and you can see it's like bent. I bought it and it bent like immediately upon purchase, which honestly pisses me off, but like, what you gonna do? And then I purchased after the fact, and I would have done this no matter what my other copy looked like. I purchased this edition of Wuthering Heights. It's a Puffin Classics paperback, and it's got an introduction in it by S.E. Hinton, who wrote The Outsiders, which I just said is one of my favorite books of all time. And so naturally, when I saw this, I was like, why don't I already own that? It's like one of my favorite books with an intro by somebody who wrote one of my other favorite books. I clearly need to own it. It's a paperback, which is like my preferred book format. Like this was like made with me in mind, and I love it. And I actually had another copy or 2 of that I gave away just because I was like, I don't need 3 to 4 copies of this book. 2 is probably more than enough. And honestly, I might unhaul the other one just because I don't need multiple copies of any of these. Some of them I'll defend the decision into the ground, but like a lot of them I just like, it's not necessary. So like I said, let me know if you would like to see an unhaul video, whether it's me getting rid of some of these duplicates or just the other ones that I'm kind of planning on getting rid of. Also, let me know if you are a hoarder of multiple copies of books and which books those might be. Also, like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and tell your friends to come check out this channel if they like to hear about books and cats and general awkwardness. Have a great day. Bye.